Okay, then let's have a look. Are you ready? I'm determined to get something different, but you watch, they'll give us the same again. Let's see what we can find. What's this? I think we have had it, but not lately. So I'll let them off. The name Ivy could be important. You may have lost someone in spirit called Ivy. It's very invasive, Ivy, and can take your roof off if you're not careful. So, let's see. Ivy. There she is. 115. What I should have done, really, is recorded all these and just given you one a night, shouldn't I? But I prefer to do what Spirit wants us to know. So let me know if you'd rather I just made a video of them all and yeah, let me know. Let's see. Because then you could just pick one, couldn't you, I suppose, randomly. Yeah, I know you'd cheat though. So, the tree, the ivy. The moon is the 11th. Place on the hand, second joint of the index finger. Second joint of the index finger is Aquarius, wishes and dreams to come true. The colour is blue. The stone is yellow serpentine, and the bird is the mute swan. The goddess Bendis, Morai Anu. Message, tenacity. They've just told us tenacity in the I Ching. Cannot make it up. Well done, Spirit. It's about raw survival instinct, enabling triumph over your circumstances. Good news, everybody. The musical note is the high F and the planet of Ceres. You don't hear about Ceres very often. The word Ogham is garden, growth, sweeter than grasses, counterpart of heaven. I mentioned heaven more than once in the I Ching. The vine, the wild oat, or the scleranthus. Entwining ivy represents the embracing and confining female principle of life. Through conception and birth, the male life force is given form by the female body, and in giving life sustenance, so too does a woman bring death into being. Ivy is the 11th moon tree. It is sacred to Bendis, Morai Anu, Osiris and Dionysus. They are dedicated to resurrection, jointly with Van, because they grow spirally. DNA is spiral. An ivy bush, according to the Oxford English Dictionary, it is a place of concealment or retirement. So something could be hidden, and you may want to retire. Saturn's sacred bird, the golden crest wren. So Jenny again, and we know she's very mysterious, elusive. Always built her nest in the ivy bush. There is a well-known revelry celebrated in medieval English carols between the Holly Boys, and the Ivy Girls, which symbolises the battle of the sexes. Another custom was to bind the last harvest sheaf in ivy and call it the Ivy Girl. The symbolism of the boar, so the year of the pig, is used because of the cycle falling during the boar hunting season. And the boar is the beast of death, symbolising the fall, or the beginning of death of the old year. But the ivy serpentine spiralling, so the year of the snake, signifies resurrection, shedding a skin, transforming. Again, a reminder of the birth-death cycle of life. Suddenly seems to have got brighter on my camera. Sacred to numerous deities, ivy is used to produce ivy ale, the extremely potent drink of the Middle Ages. Ivy leaves, when chewed, for their toxic effect on the bacchanal revels celebrated at the season in France and Thessaly, France, not France. The intoxicated Bassarids waved branches of silver fire sacred to the birth goddess, wreathed in a spiral of, not everybody go chewing on your ivy leaves, will ya? Of yellow-berried ivy. The dark green, shiny leaves of ivy, being a 5-pointed star, made them especially sacred to the great goddess, connecting with the mysterious group of 5 British goddesses, the De Matrona. Ivy attracts the last bees of the year, enhancing its religious importance, and there have been numerous bee goddess cults. Maybe that's what they're talking about when they talk about the bees all the time. Let's have a look into that, the bee goddesses. Ivy's magical properties embrace the feminine gender and the planet Saturn, which is the Saturn planet of truth, the element of water, resurrecting and mysterious deities, Bacchus, Dionysus, and Osiris, the power of protection and healing, and ritual uses. The thyrsus used in worshipping Bacchus was often wrapped in ivy. It is carried by women for good luck and worn by brides for the same reason. Ivy also guards against negativity and disaster. It can additionally be used in fidelity, and love charms. There is a fierce and deterring power in God. It offers the boar-like tendency to be applied to the will to do difficult and intricate work. The ivy is a sign of development and transformation of the self. It indicates that you may soon be involved in a change in your business or educational life. There are perhaps gains to be had in connection with it. However, the path may be fraught with pitfalls. There may be those who are envious of your accomplishments. Seek the best guidance in what you do. The main challenge is not to get caught up in the tools of the transformation process. Remember that the tools are not the ends, but only the means to give rise to something emerging from the depths of your psyche. So keep your focus on your true goals, which is what the I Ching said. Ivy reminds us of the movement of the heavens and the way this is reflected on the earth. It has the ability to bind all things together. It can wander freely, linking tree to tree, or form dense thicket that block out the light and restrict passage. Ivy brings shelter or overwhelming darkness and reminds us that where there is life, there is also death. Ivy represents the wanderings of the soul in its search for enlightenment. It carries a warning to be sure of your direction and your desires, so that you avoid being ensnared by them. True progress is made when all the lessons of the preceding trees have been linked together with ivy. So if you haven't learnt from past lessons, then you will go through it again, in such a way that the light can still enter and no limb need break. So be careful. I am a ruthless boar. On this moon, the 11th moon, Amagan sings, I am a ruthless boar. The boar is the last of the 4 sacred animals to be mentioned by the poet. We have seen the boar several times with the hinge of the year, the passage across the boundary between light and dark. The boar is the creature that represents the unending continuity of divine energy and is seen chased from one realm of energy manifestations to the other. Its expression, changing, becomes either a dark creature or a destructive or solar teacher. Bit like Animal Farm then, innit? Just as the stag, who we know is good, who is the boar's counterpart, changes from antlered apparition of the other world to the earthbound power at the heart of the greenwood, so does the boar. And so in moving into darkness, the boar is now the harbinger of death, taking the active energy of growth into darkness, the green energy of the full light, the heart, who rose to triumph over half a year, so 6 months, now is killed by the boar as the hunt replays itself. Death is victorious. Transformation will take place. The forces of growth are stilled. Soon the leaves will fall from the trees, and the lengthening nights will establish the rule of dark. And what did I say when we started? Very dark tonight. However, the boar's descent into the underworld is not purely a journey of destruction. In spite of any other roles it may play, it is still a creature of fertility, planting seedlings even within death itself, the seeds of renewal. It is as though the driving force of growth manifests during the light of the year and being smashed, but it may fragment, still retain life within themselves, and buried like seeds in the winter soil, they will be nurtured by the darkness until the next bright season. The weakening of the sun and the cooling of the air will alert us to the waning of our own expanding energies, and the need to face the ending of this phase of our existence. The last of the energy must be used wisely in a way that ensures the survival of what we have already made, and also in a way that facilitates the resumption of our own activity at a later time. Already, from far away, we hear the boom of the sea on the cliffs of Sarwyn, calling us down again into the depths. As the moon waxes, we see the wild hunt of death charging towards us, lighting up the land with the bright autumnal colours in their furrows, and we gather up those shreds of beauty to treasure within our soul. On the full moon of the hunt, and it reaches us, we come face to face with the boar, and we hold up the gift we have prepared, the shape we have chosen to be summarised what we have achieved through the year's activities. With the moon's waning, we look serenely inwards as another year ends and a new cycle begins. I am a boar on the high place, in the first fresh frost, in autumn's face. The hunters call to sound the chase, but I am bold. I will run this race, For many moons we roamed this land, where others fell. I learned to stand. The old and great join in the dance. Courage and cunning are my inheritance. On earth, in the air, through the fire, by the water, I am Valor, the Ivy Moon's daughter. So our ancestors fought for us, and we have to respect them by fighting for the next generation. Bendis was the great goddess of genocratic Lemnos and Thrace, where women worked the land and tended the sheep and cattle. She was called the fierce huntress of the two spears. She provided the religious underpinning for the Lemnosian women, so Lemons, revolt in which all the men on the island were slain. Her name means to tie. In her image, she is depicted holding a branch of trees, which is thought to grant passage to the underworld. It is told that her women wore lion pelts, so watch out for them Leos, and fox skins. Those who worshipped her did so in her sacred groves. To the Greeks, Bendis was the same Thracian Artemis, worshipped by the Amazons and Tauropolis, and she was closely aligned with Cybele and Hecate. As Hecate, she was the moon and night, earth and nature. She had great power over heaven and earth. She also identified as the Brahonian Artemis and Rhea. Her worship was introduced into Attica by the Thracians and was so favoured that she was celebrated in a ceremony in Athens, which included grand processions and races called the Bedtime. Morrigan harvest. When the Morrigan moves through the fields, only the white, is seen at the sky. Single dark fogs fly across the heaven and cloth the great queen like a splendid robe. When the Morrigan moves through the fields, she is bare on her back. Black hair covers her. Followed by a flock of crows, she strides through the wild. The crow's shriek hurries on ahead of her, heralding her harvest. When Morrigan comes through the fields, she is destroyer and mistress of the world. One glance into her mirroring eyes leads you across without pain. Every burning sorrow she takes away in a cool black boat. Roybin, Morrigan Shrine. The mute swan is the month of the mute swan, guys, whose colour of plumage, black legs, and red bill make it especially sacred to the white goddess. It prepares to follow her companion, the whistling swan, the bird of the autumnal equinox, Ada Aspen, who is about to fly off with her young. The smoke of weed fires, take that out you will, the haze on the hills and the skies before the coming rain are all blue. Mute swans have been cherished as symbols of purity and elegance for centuries. Native to Europe and Asia, they were transported to North America in the late 19th century by European immigrants. Some swans eventually escaped or were deliberately released into the wild. Public opinion about mute swans is mixed. There are very large birds with little or no fear of humans. They are easily observed and provide opportunities for people to come in close contact with wildlife. Their vibrant orange bills with black knobs, white plumage and long, graceful held necks make them conspicuous. Their young, who have a dusky tinge and greyish bill, usually remain with their parents for about 4 months. Mute swans reside primarily in estuaries, river habitats, with smaller communities on island lakes and ponds. The mute swan is not mute, it hisses, grunts and barks, and unlike our native swans, its black knob on the upper bill. In older times, a young swan was a table delicacy. All swans have belonged to the crown in England since 1482. In a special ceremony each year, the swans on the Thames River are rounded up, their wings clipped and their bills marked with the royal brand. At nesting time, the mute swan is especially dangerous. Children and dogs coming near to the nest often are badly beaten or dragged into the water and drowned. A blow from his powerful wing has been known to break a man's leg. So again, they keep saying about broken limbs. I don't like that. In America, some have escaped and now breed by hundreds in the wild. So let me know if you've got a broken leg or arm. I am a ruthless boar, the boar said. I am fierce boar. I fled as a bristly boar seen in a ravine for valour. I am a thicket which holds the roebuck. I have tasted joy. I have strength born of ecstasy. The fierceness and untamed power of a wild boar naturally led to its association with war and death among the early Celts. Warriors went to battle, urged on by the terrifying squeals of the carnix, the boar-headed trumpet, and some warriors also dressed in boar skins or wore menacing boar crests upon their helmets. The boar was one of the favourite animals to hunt, for its strength and valiant defence when cornered appealed to Celtic notion and warriorhood. Celtic mythology is rich in tales of heroic boar hunts. In legend, Fionn hunted Formiel, a huge boar that was enough to cause a deadly fright, for he was dark blue-black with coarse bristly hair, nebulous, nasty, devoid of ears and tail and testicles, for this was a mark of infertility and death. The boar Formiel's teeth protruded, lengthy and ghastly from its oversized head, and it lifted the mane on its back ever tall and sharp, that a large apple could have been skewered through each of its long bristly hairs. The early Celts also prized boars above all other food, and the centrepiece of the legendary Feast of Tara was the freshly slaughtered Bansama. The young pig of Samhain, pig bones, and even whole joints of pork have been found in the graves of chieftains, no doubt in anticipation of a banquet in the afterlife. Guests at the other world feasting halls could eat all the pork they wanted from the cauldron of the Celtic warrior's paradise, for pigs that were killed and eaten one day would spring up alive the next. According to the research of Robert Graves, October was the boar hunting season. It is also the revelry season of the ivy-wreathed bazarids. The boar is the beast of death and the fall of the year begins in the month of the boar. As mentioned earlier, the boar descendants into the underworld is not solely a path of destruction, because in spite of other roles it may have, the boar remains a creature of fecundity. It plants within death the seed of rebirth. Don't forget the goddess Sheridan is even referred to as the white sow. Currently, we know the boar to be an animal of great courage. He has a harsh, bristled hide with long, curved tusks. He is an animal of great cunning and bravery. He fears nothing and will attack all impeding his way. Beast or man. We associate courage and bravery with the boar. In mythology, the boar is always associated with the hunt. The hunt, however, is never ordinary. Our hero, so that he might prove himself, must test his own resources to tame a wild beast. What better animal than the boar? What the gods and goddesses give can also be taken from us. We see the boar as a solar animal because of his strength, but can also be seen coming from the darkness. As the boar of winter, he belongs to the dark half of the year, with the absence of the sun. His symbols become the symbols of death. Keep in mind, to the Celts, there was no evil in this concept because death is a doorway to a different life. In order to move into that other life, we must of course sacrifice the present one. Our many tales of the boar demonstrate time and again the brave battle of hero and boar, and out of this clash comes great destruction, a fierce battle to the death, and then victory. Serpentine is a striking green stone of light and dark hues, white or black speckled. It is relatively soft, associated with Scorpio energy, and can increase wisdom and self-restraint. It is said to protect against venom and has many of the same properties of green jade. So the green-eyed monster, heart chakra, and jealousy and venom, spite. Serpentine helps one understand that gentleness, even if one might not expect it to be, is a source of great strength. The name serpentine comes from both the serpent-like patterns adorning the stone and also from the belief that serpentine stones were endowed with protective and or curative abilities in preventing fatalities from snake bites. The ancient Assyrians carried serpentine stone seals so that their deities would send double blessings. The ancient Egyptians called serpentine meh, and it was often used in amulets. Snakebite protection folklore comes in several cultures because of its mottled appearance that resembles snakeskin. The Italian Strega were known to use small pebbles of serpentine to draw out toxins, and American Zulu people also use serpentine for fetish carvings, whatever that means. Magically, serpentine continues to be used as protection against poisonous creatures. Additionally, in meditation, serpentine is especially good for applying to the heart chakra and is thought to bring peace and calm amidst turbulent times. It is also used to open the kundalini energy from your root chakra. I won't do that if you're not ready, so that's not fun. From healing, serpentine is worn as an amulet and has been used by nursing women to regulate the milk supply. It is reputed to benefit asthma, hepatitis, and it is considered a balancing stone and overall healer. A poem by Algernon Charles Swinburne. When the hands of spring are on winter's traces, the mother of months in meadow or plain fills the shadow with windy places, with lists of leaves and ripples of rain, and the brown bright nightingale, amorous, is half assuaged by Italus. For the Thracian ships and the foreign faces, the tongueless vigil and all the pain. Come with bows bent and with emptying of quivers, maiden most perfect, lady of light, with a noise of winds and many rivers, with a clamour of waters and the might. Bind on thy sandals, O thou most fleet, over the splendour and speed of thy feet. For the faint east quickens and the wan west shivers. round the feet of the day, of the feet of the night. Where shall we find her? How shall we sing to her? Fold our hands around her knees and cling. Oh, that man's heart, whereas fire could spring to her, fire or the strength of the streams that spring. For the stars and the winds are unto her as raiment, as songs of the harp player. I mentioned the harp player before, so if you play the harp, let me know. For this risen star and the fallen cling to her, and the southwest wind and the west wind sing. For winter rains and rains are over, and all the seasons of snow and sins, the days dividing lover and lover, the light that loses, the night that wins. And time remembers its grief forgotten, and frosts are slain and flowers begotten, and in green underwood and cover, blossom by blossom, the spring begins. The full streams feed on flower of rushes, ripe grasses trammelled a travelling foot. The faint fresh flame of the young years flushes, for the leaf to flower and flower to fruit, and fruit and leaf are gold as fire, and the oat is heard above the lyre, and the hoofed heels of satyr cushes, and the chestnut husk at the chestnut root. And Pan by noon and Bacchus by night, fleeter of foot and the fleet-foot kid, follows with dancing and fills with delight the Maenad and the Brassarid, and soft as lips that laugh and hide, and laughing leaves of the trees divide, and screens from seeing and leaves in sight, God pursuing the maiden hid. The ivy falls with the bacchanal's hair over her eyebrows, hiding her eyes. The wild vine, slipping down, leaves bare, her bright breast shortening into sighs. The wild vine slips with the weight of its leaves, but the buried ivy catches and cleaves. To the limbs that glitter, the feet that scare, the wolf that follows, and the fawn that flies. Also a poem by Christina Georgiana Rossetti. So any of those could mean something to you. O roses for the flush of youth, and laurel for the perfect prime, I pick an ivy branch for me, grown old before my time. Bless her. Ivy is a vine. It grows 100 feet long in forests and through human dwellings, where it is planted as a ground cover. Ivy produces greenish flowers before flowering on short vertical shrubby branches. The leaves of these flowering branches lack the characteristic lobes of the leaves of the rest of the plant. Like holly, ivy is evergreen, its dark green leaves striking in the bare forest of midwinter. It is a member of the ginseng family. This is the moon honoured annually by the ivy girls, taking our name from the Bassarids, and is a small telling. They were classified as wild, ecstatic women. They were shapeshifters wearing fox skins and lion pelts. They were intoxicated on their own ecstasy. They were sacred prostitutes in a time when sexuality was considered a gift from the gods. So sacred to life that the art of love-making was taught by these sacred women in the temples of the goddess. According to the author Vicky Noble, the Maenads of 6th century BCE were famous for their orgiastic rituals, not only throughout Greece and Turkey, but also in Thrace, Bulgaria, Italy, Etruscan, and the land of the Scythians. A Thracian vessel depicts a double axe, below which is a series of goddesses and objects that could be either daggers or sheaves of wheat. In the description that matches female images on vessels in ancient Sumer were told the Thracian orgiastic rites, which took place in the mountains by night, where the women, clad in animal skins and having snakes and daggers in their hands, danced excited, whirling dances in Thrace. Iron Age Bulgaria. I think that should say Bulgaria. There's a lot of misprints in this book. This goddess, a version of Artemis, was known as Bendis. A mural in Crete shows a woman whirling as far back as the Bronze Age, predating Sufi dancing by more than 2 millennia. A Greek vase shows pairs of women dancing with lotus flowers in their hands. could be a Western counterpart of the Indian yoginis engaged in nocturnal assemblies. This is our sacred moon, the Ivy moon. It was the season of the Bacchanal revels of Thrace and Thessaly, in which the Basarids, intoxicated on their own ecstasy, dancing their ecstatic dance, rushed wildly about on the mountains, waving their fair branches of bedis, spirally wreathed with ivy, and with roebuck tattooed on their right arm above their elbow. So I know prostitutes did used to get tattooed, didn't they? And I think most of them were sacrificed as witches, classed as witches, because you can't have the old pagan ways going, can you, when you need to start religion. So that was interesting. We're looking for a harp player and somebody with a broken limb now, aren't we? Thanks for listening. Bye.